Great drivers, exceptional cars. That is a recipe for exciting racing, and that is exactly what you are set for today. As a great field of drivers are about to climb on board virtually identical Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars in two different categories. Being identical, the onus is on the driver to perform, and boy do they. It is excitement time. We are ready for the start of our coverage of the International Motorsports Association Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Welcome to Mazda Raceway, Laguna, Seca, and it is an absolutely incredible event on an absolutely stunning location. This track located the Monterey Peninsula, just inland from the bay just a little bit, and that has produced some phenomenal weather. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Randy Popes, providing some of our analysis here. And from a driver and car perspective, folks, this weather is perfect. 63 and sunny, great conditions. The tires, the engines, and the drivers love it cool. And there are two races that are going to unfold this weekend. One, round 3 of the championship, or the first of the doubleheader, already unfolded. We'll be bringing you coverage of round 4. But let's look back, and at the start, pole sitter, boy, what a job he did. Mike Lewis in the Competition Motorsports Curb Records car got off to a launch. Starting the second lap, this contact, the green number 11, bounced into by the 96 of Pierre Melichek and ended up hard against the pit wall. A lot of damage on the track, took a while to clean up. When they went back to green, the racing was furious. The number 56 of David Baker, a little bit too hot into turn 2. Then a little bit later, watch this, Mark Yano in the number 24 just got in a bit too hot behind one of his team cars, had to dynamite the brakes, off he went. But up front, it was all Michael Lewis, all Competition Motorsports in the Curb Records car, winning a close one over Sloan Urie and 16-year-old Jesse Lazar. A great story there, but it was not enough to dethrone Angel Benitez Jr. from the point lead. He won the first 2 rounds at Sebring, had a problem with a penalty in round 3 here, but Colin Thompson closing in, as is Sloan Urie. So some exceptionally close racing in the Platinum category. Same thing in the Gold category. We'll explain those two categories in just a minute, but in the Gold class, Fred Pordad has a single-point margin over Patrick Otto Madsen, who was one of the winners at Sebring in the opening 2 rounds as well. So the competition fierce. Now, what differentiates the classes? Well, the Platinum class is for the new 2014 991 platform of the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. The Gold class is for the 2010 through 2013 versions, which are on the 997 platform. Quick way to notice them, take a look at those wing end plates and the number panels. If they're black, that means Platinum. If they're yellow, that means Gold. And it's time to go racing in round 4. This one's going to be good. So let's take a look at the starting lineup here, and it is Michael Lewis on pole for the 2nd consecutive race. Sloan Urie slots into 2nd. Angel Benitez will be starting in 3rd. Colin Thompson in 4th. Jesse Lazar in 5th. Casey Coleman will be the top Masters player in the Platinum category. He will be starting next up. We'll show you the rest of the grid here as it unfolds. The field's starting to bunch up. This is key. Watch for that start stand as the pace car is in. And again, Michael Lewis, he showed in that first race earlier today the ability for him to be able to go quick on those cool tires. Randy, we have a launch. Sloan Urie trying to stay around the outside. He's actually a little deeper down into that first turn, but can he make it stick? No, he does not, and an opportunistic move by Angel Benitez slots into 2nd.
And he's the man that can run with that curb racing car. Lewis in the lead. We got a couple cars in the dirt battling back there in the mid-pack, which is actually the front of the Gold pack. And here's a car stuck up against the wall. I think that might be Mike Shine in the 16 car.
It is indeed, and we have an early caution. That is Mike Shine indeed in that Wright Racing machine, Wright Motorsports Porsche, and pulls over. So that's right at that start line, and that is not a place you want a car. Cars tend to get real close to that arc of the track, and so obviously this had to go caution. It's a real shame, and it's also Mike Shine is somebody that when he's on is quick.
That's the truth. Mike Shine ran well in the first race this morning. This is the 2nd race of the doubleheader, and that's how we do it here in the Porsche GT3 Cup. And he had a shot at winning this race.
He did.
Something has gone really wrong there for the Wright Motorsports driver. They've got 4 cars in this race.
Now here's a look. There, we're going to show you a replay. There's the green flag flying. We're going to see if we can find out. And a little puff of smoke out the back of that car as he comes to a stop, Randy.
He may have got along the wall there. It's a little hard to tell. We can't see the other side of the car. There might have been some squeezing.
Yeah, there's a little bit of junk moving over that, but that's just marbles that he may have just stirred up. You can see them off track here, and that's something that these drivers are going to have to pay attention to. Of course, Porsche Motorsports North America, 10 years ago decided they needed to have the Porsche concept of the National Cup Championships that they run around the world. In North America, they created this championship. Porsche Motorsports North America has been immensely supportive, not just creating it, but supporting the teams that run in it. They all run on these Yokohama ENVR2 tires, the orange oil infused tires. It's great technology, but what the end result is, they're a lot easier to recycle. There's so much that's going on in this championship that makes it very exciting. Now there's a Canadian version of it. It's really taken hold here.
You can tell by the size of the field. And the Porsche GT3 Cup has been a big success from day one, and they've got green tires. I like hearing that. Even in a race where everything is flat out, you can still use modern technology to make the most wise use of our natural resources.
And the lights have now come back on the pace car, so apparently they are going to have to do one more lap of caution here. And they'll look at it and say, well, we think we can do it, but then they look at it again and go, well, we've got to take care of an issue here, so we're going to have another lap of caution. 45-minute timed event. The clock is ticking.
The racing that we saw already down into turn one was really interesting. Sloan Ury, young driver, early 20s, taking a shot at Michael Lewis from the outside with a brave lake-breaking move. Didn't quite work. Michael ran a little wide. Sloan couldn't get the run, and guess what? Here comes Angel Benitez, sticking his nose right up under Sloan and gets it in second place.
And that's not what Sloan wanted to see happen, obviously, with Benitez sweeping the doubleheader at Sebring. As Sloan Ury, a competitive third in that second round, he really wanted to be able to put something together here. But the bigger issue there, of course, is Mike Lewis with his great run at the very front of things. After struggling a little bit in Sebring, he wants to keep Benitez behind him as well.
And the question is, did they touch?
Yeah.
There might have been a rub there. Could be some tire damage. We'll see.
Well, that'll just set the jaw a little firmer inside those helmets. We'll go back to green when we come back.
Welcome back to the Monterey Peninsula as we're getting ready to go back to green here in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Lights out in the pace car, the field bending down, through and down that corkscrew here, the iconic corner here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna, Seca. But they're eventually going to have to get out of turn 11, Randy, and get this launch underway. And we have seen Michael Lewis in the first race this morning able to do that to absolute perfection. The question is, now with Angel Benitez right on his 6, can he repeat it again?
We're getting ready to come down to the green flag, and typically that is going to be thrown right out of the last corner, and then all heck is going to break loose.
Absolutely. Here we go. Lewis taking that Competition Motorsports Kerr-Magid JD car out in an early green. Benitez looks, but a great timing of that start by Colin Thompson in that bright orange car as he is now launching, trying to get a run on that Hertz JDX car of Sloan Ury. Down hard, brake zone, into the Andretti hairpin, turn 2 here. A little bit of lockup from Angel Benitez tells you just how hard he's working. Yeah,
but look at how Mike Lewis comes off that corner. He's putting the power down. Burning some dirt on the exit of turn 2 behind these leaders.
That was, I believe, that was David Calvert-Jones in the number 12 entry, just a little wide on the exit of that hairpin. What a sight. 31 of these Porsches funneling through now out of turn 3, up under the bridge into turn 4. Now turn 5, they start climbing that hill. Huge to get this corner right. You need every ounce of momentum.
These are all brand new 2014 Porsche 911 race cars. You buy them right from the factory like this in the platinum category. And you know what, there's another category, the gold category, for last year's cars and back a few years. Look at this battle up the hill.
Oh, tremendous battle. That's the number 25 of Christina Nielsen. She very racy, but she had a problem in the first race.
Got a nose.
And, ooh, gave the nose, got the door slammed rather firmly. Just up in front of her, we watched Eduardo Cisneros put a nice move on, I think it was David Ducote, one of the Masters cars. And again, Masters class, ooh,
listen, down
what
the inside,
a dive.
into turn 10.
Fantastic move. Yeah, that was on the 27 of Javier Quiros, one of the most experienced drivers on the circuit. Great run by Christina.
Oh, and he's into the pits.
Yeah,
so
he may have
something going on there.
That's unfortunate. A strong driver to be sure, and I hate to see him having those issues. But Christina Nielsen, earlier in the season, at the first 2 rounds, 2 fifth-place finishes. Meanwhile, Michael Lewis up front, and he's got over a second on that lap alone. This guy on these, when the tires are a little cool, not up to the right pressure, somehow, Randy, he finds speed.
I'll tell you what, look at that gap in just 1 lap. He's pulled out a lot of space. on a really strong driver in Angel Benitez and Sloan Yuri. Both guys, in fact, Angel went faster than Mike Lewis did on his best lap in the last race. So Mike's got a setup that obviously works early in the race on the cooler tires.
Meanwhile, there's the number 29 in that Momo NGT car, and that is Eduardo Cisneros, and he is now trying to wedge away the 8th spot from the number 60 of Santiago Creel as they climb up that hill.
Greg, Eduardo Cisneros is Mr. Excitement. He, in fact, took the tires out of the corkscrew in the last race. You never know what's going to happen with Eduardo. That's why his bumper doesn't match. But he's quick.
Yeah, he's quick
got
when he's
the
on.
Pressure on.
And you can see it is cool here. You see that piece of bright kind of pink tape right on the front of that car. You know, obviously trying to get a little bit more less air into the radiators and keep those engines warmed up a little bit. He's in full attack mode right now on Creel.
Creel's got the Visit Mexico car, and Eduardo Cisneros wants a piece of it. He's going to try and make the draft work down the front straight. But Creel has come out of turn 11. He's done that drag race well. He's putting the power down.
Again, it's huge. We talk about the great corners, but probably the most important one is the launch out of 11. Cisneros running it a bit deep, trying to carry speed. Yeah,
in hot, and that's Christina Nielsen back there trying to hang on to them. Maybe she's hoping to pick up a couple positions if they get in trouble. Now we're heading for 4. 4 is a fast corner. It just takes a little bit of a lift. These Porsches got a big old wing. You know, those wings are pushing down. It's like an airplane upside down. Adding grip the faster you go. And there's Mike Levitas in the gold category, the 35 car winner this morning.
And there is a look at Kristen Trieger, who's having a solid run in the gold class as well at this stage. And she's in a bit of a battle. The number 99 right in front of her is Patrick Otto Madsen. And he has been awfully strong in this class in the opening couple of rounds of the championship. But the interesting thing is, for both of them, the fastest guy in the class during the qualifying session, and it's the second quick lap that establishes your starting position here for this race, was Paul Barnhart Jr., who's right in between those two in that number 17.
That caught a lot of the teams off guard, or the drivers anyway, didn't realize. So we're not lined up by our race times from the first race like the years before. This is a new thing. And Kristen Trieger, she had a good second lap in the qualifier, which had her start second. And right now she's holding that position, but it looks like our leader is pulling out a little bit of a gap. That 99 car, Patrick Otto Madsen, has got a bit of a gap in the lead in the gold category. These are the Porsches from 2013 back to about 2010.
Well, I'll tell you, Randy, they put on some fierce racing in that category, but up front, it is in the Platinum class, the number 98 of the remarkable young Mike Lewis in that Competition Motorsports Curb Records Porsche, continuing what's been a dominant weekend, although Angel Benitez right there, the points leader, not exactly letting him go. Lots more to come from Monterey. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca and round 4 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Colin Thompson continues to try and crack that top 3 right now. And, you know, one of the things, these races are 45-minute timed events, but even though they're a bit short, Randy, it is really important for these guys to still be consistent over what they generally refer to in these types of cars as a long run, yes?
It's really important in a 45-minute race like these GT3 Cup races are, to have a setup that'll work at the end of the race, not just the beginning. But the pace is blistering. These guys are flying. They're a little bit spread out. I actually hope the leaders fall back and we get more of a battle going. You never know at this point in the race what's going to happen later.
Well, and the thing is as you press and go quickly here, sometimes you can use up these tires. They're awesome tires, but you push them too hard, any tire. Oh, and there's Mr. Excitement. Eduardo Cisneros has gone around, and that's down where he ran wide the last time, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it's turn 2, and he didn't quite make it. And, oh, man, the whole field is going by. That's painful. But he's got it going again. He's going to come right back into the fray.
And, you know, he'll just immediately get after it and go for it here. You know, one thing to talk about, Randy, normally in these all of these weekends are double-header weekends. You run 2 rounds in each race. So that's why we're at round 3 and round 4 here after the opening rounds at Sebring. But normally they're on different days. They ran this morning. You have any issues, you know, the crew's not going to be real happy if they've got a thrash here. On the other hand, you've got track knowledge from that same day.
Yeah, and in fact, Eduardo did damage his car this morning, so they had to work on that. And you know what? These guys are tired by now. They already ran a 45-minute race, and now they're doing it again. But I never mind that. It's always great to have more races and be right back at it. And it's a beautiful day. The weather's in the 60s. This is just ideal California weather up here in Monterey.
Watching Patrick Otto Madsen, as you see in that number 99 entry, as he continues to lead, 14th overall, but leading in the GT3 Gold Cup class, but not by much. There is Christian Trieger, got that Bengal Tiger on the side of her car, just got a connection with those big cats, and I'll tell you, she's running a great race, and right behind her is the Kelly Moss, number 17, continues to be Paul Barnhart, who actually started on the class pole in this one.
Yeah, Barnhart finished second, or no, actually third this morning after running second most of the race in a closely fought battle. Yep. And I can't help but root for Kristen Trieger. It's tough to be a woman in a racing, and she's doing a great job at it. And the more great female race drivers we get, the easier it's going to be for women to come out and get on track and be up front and win a race like a Porsche GT3.
Absolutely. Oh no, and you know, Eduardo now, I think he's let things get to him, and now you try too hard, and this is what happens.
Well, turn 2 is his real nemesis in this race, isn't it? That was the same spot as last time.
So you need to brake a little sooner.
You know what? If you're ever having trouble with a corner, take this advice from Randy Popst. Ever having trouble with the corner? Slow down a little more next time in. You'll be amazed how much better it'll go for you.
Yeah, it's a great call. By the way, Mike Levitas, who won the race this morning in the TPC Racing Porsche in the gold class, is 4th, and he is starting to get involved. It's really a four-way battle that's shaping up between Madsen, Trieger, Barnhart, and Levitas. Meanwhile, up front, Sloan Urie continuing to try and do what he can. And the problem for him may be, at this point, he's losing touch with Lewis and Benitez, and he's got that bright orange car flashing in his mirrors. And, you know, at a certain point, you suddenly start to drive your mirrors a little bit to try and hang on to your third spot. That lets the guys up front start to ease away.
That's right. The battle changes from catching the leader to not getting caught, from hunter to hunted.
Exactly.
And right now, that's where the race is for Sloan Urie.
Yeah, and also doing some hunting is this guy, the young 16-year-old Jesse Lazar, as he's trying to crack that top 5. Meanwhile, one of the players in the Masters class in Platinum is David Calvert-Jones, up the hill here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Welcome back to our coverage here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, round 4 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge. Big move by Christina Nielsen down to the inside of Santiago Creel. Ooh, Randy, that looked just a little optimistic.
It was a little ugly. It was a little late. She didn't quite make it in there, but man, she's brave. She went for it, but Santiago Creel is not going to be happy about that. Hopefully his car's okay. Wasn't a hard hit.
Yeah, and these are sturdy cars. They're very safe cars. That's one of the reasons that these drivers love to race this. Here it comes again, Randy.
She's going for it. Brakes late down the inside, but not late enough. Only gets to his door. They moved her tires, too. I don't know if the chief steward may want to adjust those tires. But fortunately, you can shortcut there, but it's a bit of an off-road. Christina may have damaged her front splitter. You don't know. But it looks like Santiago Creel is still running good.
Yeah, as I said, these are very sturdy cars, very safe cars. The drivers love that. And somebody explained once that area that she was in may be the vortex of danger.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. The vortex of danger is where you turn in to pass a guy after he's started to enter the corner, or she. Yep,
and I'll tell you, it's just tough because she was up alongside at the door, but if you're not all the way alongside, it's tough for them to see you, and you've got to get that done a little bit more aggressively. And I mean, she was aggressive, but a little bit more decisively, I guess.
Yeah, more decisive. It had to be a deeper, harder shot down to the inside and get right next to that car on the way in. As we look at Michael Lewis stretching out a lead a little bit. Angel Benitez, the only one that's really got a shot at him right now. Their lap times are very similar in the low 28s. That's a second faster than they went this morning.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Michael Lewis, I mean, Angel Benitez Jr. was in the championship fight all last year, led it for quite a bit of it, ended up third after a great battle with Madison Snow, who's moved on now, and Sloan Urie. But he's an awfully quick driver, swept the opening 2 rounds, both poles, both wins. But Michael Lewis, this is an amazing story. This young guy from Laguna Beach, California, never has raced here until this weekend, because when he decided to get into cars, he went to Europe and ran formula machinery, came back here, got paired up for this program, obviously with Bob Fayetta's Competition Motorsports team. They like what they saw. They said he's adjusted beautifully to racing sports cars with roofs and the like. But to come here, never having seen this track and be able to run like this, obviously, one, that team has given him a fabulous car. But Michael, you can see this kid might just be special.
And Michael Lewis continues to lead here as he drops that beautiful Curb Records Competition Motorsports Porsche into the signature corner here at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, the course crew. And Randy, just because he's trying to make this honor up front, it's not the case elsewhere.
Okay, here's Patrick Otto Madsen back there leading the gold category. Hot on his tail is Paul Barnhart Jr. Is Mike Levitt has come back into this fight yet? I don't see him.
Well, and obviously Barnhart has been able to sneak by Kristen Trieger, so she now runs third. And this is going to be interesting because Patrick Otto Madsen is actually running laps a little bit quicker than David Baker right in front of him here. So that's going to play into it. And again, guess where? Turn number 2. This time he made it a little farther around.
A little further around this time, but this ain't over yet. Here come the leaders.
Oh, careful.
Eduardo, let's go, buddy.
Oh, that's
Sloan goes off backwards. Catches the tires.
Yep, that's the old trailing throttle oversteer, wasn't it? He saw that car lifted suddenly.
Oh, Eduardo's got it a little bit more in the road. Come on, just go forward.
Just come on, forward. Buddy. Dirty up your tires if you have to.
Let's see if Sloan can get going.
There we go.
Let's see if Sloan can get going. He bumped the tires, but tires are soft, like we said. Maybe Sloan Uri's car's okay, but I don't see him coming back on just yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Is he still here? He comes. He was able to gather it up, but lost an awful lot of ground from a very competitive, at the time, third-place run.
He did. At the moment, he looks like he's going to be all right. 56 car goes around. That's David Baker.
That's the car that Patrick Otto Madsen, the gold category car, was catching Baker in a platinum car. And wonder if maybe Patrick Otto got up there, got in his mirrors, confused him. And here's the double zero having it off as well.
Now.
That's Jay Patel, one of our platinum cars.
Oh, a good friend of mine and a good driver from up there in Chicago area. Jay, very successful in a Porsche in the SCCA runoffs. And so he's a Porsche guy. Got in trouble in turn 3. He is new to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca this weekend. And so is Mike Lewis, but boy, he's got it. I wonder if somebody might be oiling this track when you see 3 cars go off all at once like that.
Well, you know, there's also all this silt that's on this track that it's very easy to pull up. It really slicks this track up.
Yes.
And, you know, some of these guys don't have the experience of it, maybe catching it at just the wrong time. Now, we got some fabulous action that's unfolding here.
You know what? I got a theory. Maybe he spun in Sloan Uri's dirt. All that dirt was coming out from under Sloan's car just before Jay Patel got there. And some of it's still on track.
Yeah, that's Christina Nielsen leading this queue right here. And obviously she's had a heck of a run. She's worked her way up into 7th at this point. So that's David Ducote right behind her in the number 6. Right behind him is the 28 of Amadeo Quiros. That's 7th, 8th, 9th, and then right behind them in closing is Santiago Creel right there. You can tell that car, a little wrinkle in that one door.
Oh boy, Santiago Creel is catching right back up. It's going to be interesting to see how this works out.
Boy, and Quiros is all over the back of Ducote, that 28. He shows the nose, tucks right back in again.
Amadeo and his father Javier are both in this race. It's a father-son team. Let's see where Javier is running.
Car dealers. They have car dealerships in Costa Rica.
I raced with Javier Quiros in World Challenge about 10 years ago. Real South American gentleman. Great guy, good driver.
Great to have them here. They always like to come over and race in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Great to have them here. And then there is that number 60, Santiago Creel. He's from Mexico City.
Christina Nielsen gapping this group a little bit, but they seem to have caught her up a little bit in turn 11. Although, you know, every time you go into a slow corner, speeds get slower and it looks closer.
Welcome back, everybody, to Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. This is the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, round number 4. Great battling, a little bit deeper in the pack, 7th through 11th at this point, and it's Christina Nielsen, and you can see the car that's 3 cars behind her is Santiago Creel. The two of them came together earlier, and they're starting to battle it up again.
And in traffic now, Angel Benitez has been able to get right on the tail of the number 98 of Mike Lewis. They've got more traffic coming. This is the opportunity Benitez wanted to see something.
He's setting it up.
Yeah,
he's setting it up and getting a run off of 4 here. He's going to go wide. Watch him. Oh, no!
He got into the back of that car.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to get out of the way and blocked his move. That was going to be a 3 wide. But now we got Benitez right on the tail of Michael Lewis. This is a race.
That was Pierre Melichuk, who just wrong spot, wrong time, and made the mistake. We talk about it, a number of times, Randy. Don't help.
Don't try to get out of the way. Hold a steady line.
Well, we understand you're trying to be helpful. I think a line that I heard once was great. It says, "Don't help, just cooperate." You know, when somebody gets alongside, dip the brake, let them slide through.
And there's Mike Levitas in the 35 car, the winner this morning, duking it out a little bit further back in the field.
Yeah, he's got a good run going there. Right behind him is Charlie Putman, in the number 12, another of the Masters cars, but that's a platinum category car.
Yeah, and that's Mark Lano in the 27, taking a shot at him down into turn 5, outbreaks him.
Boy, nice
Picks
move
up
by
the position.
Mark. Fantastic. And again, this is one of the great things of this series, Randy, is it doesn't matter. It can be for the first spot, it could be for 10th, it could be for 20th. You find a group of cars that are running at your pace and you get into a great race. This is one of the few series where you see a guy get out of a car and finish 20th, grinning and bench racing because it was a 5-car battle for that spot.
Yeah, and these cars are very closely regulated to have very, very similar specs. They all have the same shock absorbers, the same springs, the same anti-sway bars. You can't change much at all. But we have 2 categories for the new car and the older car. And Levitas is hurting. I think it's because he's trying to run the same tires he did this morning.
Well, that could obviously that could be tough.
Yeah, sometimes
it might work, but it might not.
Track's cooler in the afternoon.
You never know.
But it's not helping him right now, that's what I think. Now, Lewis has opened up a bit of a gap again.
Yep, he's got that margin stretched out now to, well, it was officially 0.6 of a second. It may be well, I think it's not a second yet because Benitez now, I think he senses opportunity. This in the morning race here, he made a great restart, or so he thought, and ended up he jumped it by that much. Had to do a drive-through penalty, and it cost him dearly as he fell down the order. But he was quick. Well, now he's in the hunt. He's going for it.
We've got more from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca coming up. Into the final third of this Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, round 4. Great battle here in the Gold Cup class. And how do you tell a Gold Cup car from a Platinum?
If it's a yellow number panel with the white or the black numbers on it, or you look on the wing end plates. If they're yellow, that's Gold class. If they're black, that's Platinum. And right now, this is the first one you're going to see because he is leading Patrick Otto Madsen over Paul Barnhart. But it looks like he's got a big lead. Not that much. Barnhart's not that far behind.
Madsen is running really well.
Oh,
they might have found an adjustment in between the races, or maybe just the cooler temperature is making his car setup work better.
Well, it's interesting. At the opening 2 rounds at Sebring, he struggled a little bit in the first race, and then he put on a clinic in the second one in the Gold Cup. I'm playing with a lot of the Platinum guys, so I think that might be his MO. Get that one race in, get everything figured out, then they really can twist the setup on. Oh boy, that's
we got some trouble.
31, I think.
31 car limping down there in turn 3.
Oh, that's Jesse Lazar, the Garaga entry from the Door Doctor More Speed team. He's got big issues, and he was top 5 when he came by the start-finish line.
Yeah, okay. Well,
he's got drive
like
again here,
trying to find a gear or something, but boy, he's in the way right now.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Heads up. Oh, boy.
Boy, and a recovering Sloan Uri.
Oh, here we go.
That was, I think that may have been the 17 of Barnhart. It was.
Oh, my goodness.
Second place in the Gold class, just got distracted.
And it's still going. It's like having a jam car. It's caused a lot of jumping around. Now pulling up inside.
He pinched his entry, didn't he?
A little bit of an early apex, and around he went. That's classic, lifting off the throttle right at the end of the corner. Get the weight on the nose, the rear gets light, and you got trouble. Big spin. A little too aggressive on having to run a tight line on the way in, passing the slower car.
That's one of the nuances you have to understand, isn't it? Even with all the advances in suspension technology, with a Porsche, the engine's still hanging over that rear axle, so when it gets light, it's like a big pendulum that's swinging sideways and throwing that car around, yes?
And unlike the street cars, there's no stability control in these cars. There's no anti-lock brakes. This is driver talent only, determining how fast and how well these cars are driven. No electronic controls in the stability or the braking.
Yep. Now, not that long ago, obviously, we had a great attempt that was made by the 05 of Benitez to try and wrest this lead away. And we're going to show you a couple of different looks at it, Randy, right here.
You can see Benitez here. Pull wide, hang back, and get the run. Great plan. See, he's catching the Lewis car. He goes by, he's got to run, but now, oh no, the slower car pulls left, trying to get out of the way. Don't get out of the way. Drive your line nice and smooth. See him pulling left, and it blocks that great run. Benitez, it would have been so cool to see if he could have got Lewis into turn 5.
Well, and Mulacek, I think in his defense, all he saw, probably white-knuckled in traffic there, saw the 98 of Lewis coming up the inside in his mirrors. Yes. Never even saw Benitez right dead astern, huh?
Not.
Yeah.
Oh, Benitez had a good plan.
Boy, it was great, wasn't it?
I would love to have seen if it would have worked. It would have been 3 wide. It would have scared the living daylights out of Bill Pelichewski, but oh well. Next time, Benitez is still in this race, though, isn't he?
Well, he is now. After that attempt where he set it up so beautifully, got blunted, obviously, it's a few laps later. What's going on in his mind now? Because clearly he's got some good pace here.
I think he's got the pace. He seems to be able to stick with Mike Lewis, and maybe even Colin Thompson can get back in this race. That's a long way in a GT3 Cup race, though, unless we have a yellow that closes up the gap. Michael Lewis and Benitez not running similar times. Benitez a little quicker last lap. He has reeled Lewis back in a little bit, and by this point in the race, the tires are good and hot. Fuel load's lightening. The cars will change a little bit. Sometimes the car gets quicker, sometimes it gets slower.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see now. Obviously, that first attempt that he made it was generated because of some traffic on the track. Right now, yes, there is no traffic, so if Benitez is going to do this, he's going to have to do it, at least in the short term here, just with pure speed. And we're getting a report of a fall, and it's for Lazard. Apparently, whatever was wrong with the car, he kept trying to get drive, he would move it, but now where he is parked, the officials have said, this is not good, and we are going to a full course caution.
Finally died once and for all, but you know what? When your car has a problem and it's still rolling, whoa, and then it fires up again. Miraculously, it looks like he's going great.
Well, I wonder if this looks electronic almost, like it's dying, then he does toggles the ignition system and comes back to life and then is done again. Boy, from an official standpoint, this is when a steward starts pulling his hair out because he's just gone for a full course caution, and then the guy drives off.
Maddening. But I think we're going to go back to green pretty quick here.
I would think so.
I would slow that pace car down, get this field packed up, and boom, be right back at it.
And speaking of packing the field up, who's grinning now? The number 14 of Colin Thompson.
Yeah, I think he's got the speed.
And he had about a 6-second deficit. That's evaporated. Casey Coleman has been very quick as well. He's going to be right back in play. This is going to be pretty interesting here as we go back to green. And again now, Patrick Otto Madsen, what a day this guy's having, Randy. He is now 9th overall and playing with the platinum cars here and doing a superb job. The other guy who's going to like this is Sloan Urie. Remember that Hertz JDX car? He now wants to be able to move it on up and use an opportunity here for him to be able to make a move and rejoin this battle.
And those battles in both classes will be settled when we come back. Stay with us.
Lights are out on the Porsche pace car here at Monterey as we are getting ready to go back to green here in round 4 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We will be going green with about 7.5 minutes to go. This has changed the entire tenor of this race. The field is packed up, and talk about a sprint, Randy.
And that's about 5 laps, and we've seen Benitez and Michael Lewis right on the same pace at the front of this field. Lewis has typically been real strong on the restarts. Benitez actually jumped a restart this morning. He's going to want to go. He's going to try to time it. Turn 11, drag race. Look for the green flag very soon after they leave the corner, but Benitez, don't leave too soon.
Here we go. Green is out. We are at it again at exactly 7 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Fastest lap of the race so far has been turned by Benitez, so he certainly has the pace, but he's got to stay with Lewis, and he is right now running up hard into the Andretti hairpin. Colin Thompson, he's down the inside.
Lewis is a little
Benitez too much.
Around.
Had to pinch it because Lewis stayed right there, had to tighten the radius up, and the back end came around.
So
Benitez
close.
gave it a go, but it went wrong.
Lewis gave him an opening. He got in a little hot, got a little wide, and Benitez went for it.
Wow, unbelievable.
Well, somebody just went around.
Another car off. Is that, well, can't really see here.
On the exit of 2.
That is Yuri again. That is...
Madsen?
No, that is Sloan Yuri once again in the Hertz JDX car. Oh, boy. Well, he had an opportunity. It was like, it's all or nothing if I want to play for a podium in this one.
And there's
he decided to go for it.
Levitas trying to get back in it in the gold category. A lot of action here with just a few laps to go.
And look at this, almost 3 wide up through the exit of 6 into the corkscrew. They've got to settle it out. That's Patrick Otto Madsen and the leader in that gold category, and then a bunch of cars. Boy, he has been spectacular today, yeah.
Yeah, well, they're battling. That's Benitez trying to get back through the crowd.
Well, he's thinking points right now. You know, obviously, you know, he came in here leading in the championship, and he just needs to get back as much as he can right now, thinking long term, going to try a very aggressive move down into the hairpin. Into 11, he gets through. Boy, poor Malachek, that's the same guy again. Boy, he has just been abused today.
That's Levitas squeezing inside the wall.
Very close, he makes the move. That's by Christian Trieger.
He's picking up a position in the gold category.
That was huge. That puts him now up into 3rd in gold. It's Otto Madsen. Leading 2nd is 0-2 Fred Portad, who got a great restart, jumped up into 2nd. Levitas now 3rd. Christian Trieger is 4th. Blair Chang is 5th. Look at this action. Levitas side by side. That's Oscar Arroyo that he is trying to rebound with here. Boy, amazing stuff unfolding deep in the pack.
There are cars everywhere, and these Porsches have, the tires are hot, the engines are hot, and there's a couple seconds to go, and somebody's spinning out.
Yeah, right there, it's the number 40, Charlie Putman, who had worked his way up into the top 10.
He had started last.
Platinum class, yeah.
Started last, was running good, and just went around. Action is hot.
Be careful now, Charlie. Those tires are dirty. All right, now he's got it gathered up.
Got it back on track.
Interesting to see where we sit here. That is Colin Thompson sitting 2nd, and you can see the margin. This is what Mike Lewis does on these colder tires before they really get heat and pressure in it.
Yes.
He just has that feel to be able to sense the limit and drive to it and get speed out of the car relative to everybody else.
Colin Thompson just about 0.4 of a second slower last lap, but darn near the same exact time this lap. Thompson's getting quicker. He might be able to get back in this race. He might be able to reel in Lewis.
All right, while it's settled just a little bit here, we still have over 4 minutes to go. Let's go back, Randy, take another look at that restart and that move by Benitez. Here it is, into the Andretti hairpin.
Both drivers doing all they can under braking. Both drivers in deep, in hot. Lewis in a little too hot. Look at that rear lockup. He's got a little too much rear bias, goes wide, but Benitez, too much power trying to get by him, spins the tires and spins the car.
He got a bit greedy. He did
got
there
a little
on the
greedy,
throttle.
a little too anxious.
Yeah.
A little too anxious.
Exactly. So now we're back to it. Now the question is, can Colin Thompson reel in Lewis in 3.5 minutes?
Lewis
it's
looking
one
really
thing to
strong
catch
in
him,
turn
Randy.
6.
Yeah, it's one thing to catch him too. You got to catch him, then get by him.
Oh yeah, whole another deal. Now the corkscrew here, that's like straight down. You can't see a thing when you come out of there. Look at Colin Thompson using every bit of road.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and Yuri around again. Boy, I tell you, this happens every once in a while. You have an issue, you overdrive, and you just start to have problems. We saw it happen to Cisneros, and it looks now like it may be happening to Yuri.
Yeah, that's not his style. He's a strong driver.
Yep, so.
Might have hurt that car on one of those spins.
Yeah,
maybe that first spin, he threw something off.
Well, remember, he did get into the barriers there, exiting the Andretti hairpin.
Yeah, trying to miss Cisneros.
Yep.
Yeah, too bad. Okay, there's Kristen Trieger. We're a little bit further back in the gold category here.
Yep, she's currently 4th in the gold class. And the 0-2 got around Patrick. That is Fred Poordad. Got by Patrick Otto Madsen. That is, well, I'll tell you, he has had himself an amazing season, Poordad has.
Yeah. And there's Levitas.
Oh, and look at Madsen way wide down there and almost opening the door for the 35 of Levitas, as you said, to sneak through. That's that white car with the black nose right behind that car with the silver side to it. It was Otto Madsen.
I was making fun of TPC Racing's Mike Levitas. I don't think he put the new tires on, but at this point in the race, guess what? Everybody's on old tires.
Yeah.
And now he's on the pace. He won this morning. Let's see if we can get Madsen and maybe make a run at Poordad.
Boy,
Poordad looking strong late in the race here in the gold category.
Now, what a great story for Poordad. I mean, at the opening round, he was 2nd and 4th in that gold class at Sebring, so he certainly has some serious pace here. But right now, when you're just driving away from Patrick Otto Madsen, you got it dialed. We're expecting the white flag this time by Mike Lewis, trying to double up here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Comes out of that last turn, feeds the throttle to that Competition Motorsports, Curb Records, Curb Agajanian Porsche, and Colin Thompson right behind him. White flag is out, 1 to go.
1 to go in the platinum category. These are 2014 Porsches, all new. All new cars, all new chassis. They're still learning how to make them work. They're a little bigger, they're a little longer, and they're a little faster now than the platinum category cars. Mike Lewis needs to have a clean lap here, hit the apexes, bring it home, and in the gold, Poordad needs the same thing. Both drivers have a little bit of a gap. They don't have to drive too crazy. And there's Levitas up to 2nd.
Yep, got around Kristen Trieger. So
where's Madsen?
I don't know that she's done with it. Madsen has slipped to 4th.
He must have had a little issue.
Well, we've seen him run wide a couple of times. I wonder if he just maybe drove a little bit too hard and has overcooked those yokes.
Yeah, maybe he used up too much of his Yokohama grip too early.
They're awesome tires, but any tire, you push it too much, you will start to lose the grip and the effectiveness. You run the risk of even damaging it. You got to manage them. They'll give it right back to you if you take care of them. And Mike Lewis has given this a great deal of care. Down through the Wayne Rainey corner, and now starting to feed it over. Shifts to the left, setting up for turn 10. Colin Thompson, all he can hope for now is a mistake for Michael Lewis, and Michael hasn't given a glimmer of doing that today in either of these races. Last time, through 11, picks up the throttle beautifully. Look at Thompson sliding it, doing everything he can to stay with him. Lewis to the wall. Thank you to the crew. Competition Motorsports, a sweep of the weekend here in the gold category. Here comes Poordad, and boy, I'll tell you, once he got by here, Levitas has chipped into that margin just a bit.
Kristen Trieger's missing.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Whoop. Somebody right out in front. That's Santiago Creel. But here we go. The 0-2. That silver car with the blue hood of Poordad. He brings it home with a win and does so with some flair. Levitas in 2nd. Patrick Otto Madsen was able to get back around Kristen Trieger and ends up completing the podium. And we should note here, 3rd in the platinum class was Casey Kuhlman in the number 15 Cool Sport Wright Motorsports entry. He is our top Masters competitor, with David Calvert-Jones 4th overall, 2nd in Masters. David Ducote 3rd in Masters, 6th overall. So a great run for them. Poordad is a Masters driver. Levitas is a Masters driver. So they're obviously 1-2 in gold. And Paul Barnhart Jr., 5th in gold, but is 3rd in the Gold Cup Masters category. So, wow, unbelievable action here. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back. Stay with us.
A beautiful day, a phenomenal facility, and boy, did it produce some fireworks in both of the classes. Up front, your winner, Mike Lewis, in the Platinum class. Let's hear from him.
That was a pretty intense race, you know, green to checkered, basically no yellow. I mean, one really short one, and I just kept it clean and drove as hard as I could in my Competition Motorsports number 98 Curb Records machine, and I just brought it home. I mean, there was some dicing going on that last restart into turn 1, and just kept my nose clean. And that was the biggest thing, drive hard but clean, because some guys were making mistakes and flying off, and that's what happened, you know, the 2nd place guys. So just big thanks to the team, Competition Motorsports, and, you know, winning my home race, you know, sweeping the weekend, pole position. I don't know if I got fastest lap, but that doesn't really matter. It's the win that matters, and I can't say enough about everything that just happened here. So really, really cool to have my home race, kind of sweep the whole thing. First time here, by the way, so pretty rad.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is only his 3rd day ever racing on this track. So here are the results. Lewis Colin Thompson up into second with that moment by Benitez. That's huge for him in terms of points. Casey Coleman third, and the Masters winner over David Calvert-Jones and Dakota. In the gold class, Fred Pordad winning not only the gold but also the Masters category there too over Levitas. Patrick Otto Madsen, that slip for him, a problem as well. But let's check in with our winner, Fred Pordad.
Yeah, it was a great race. We had a good start to the race. I started P4 in class and kind of held my own through the first 3 turns, which is really the toughest here. And after that, just ran consistent lap times and had the opportunity to do some side-to-side, wheel-to-wheel racing. So it turned out well for us in the end. Competition Motorsports put a really good car under me, and all I had to do was drive it home.
Yeah, a huge day for Competition Motorsports. Colin Thompson, as I said, into the lead. Lewis second. Benitez slipping big back to third in the Platinum class points after the 4 rounds of the championship. In the gold category, Fred Pordad now on top. Madsen, his little slip, costly as well. And Christian Trieger right in the mix. She's had a great start to the season. And Levitas, after missing the first 2 rounds to be top 5, that's some pretty solid stuff. Our next coverage of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama will unfold at another legendary venue, Watkins Glen International Raceway, and that is on the long course, a track that these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, whether platinum or gold, absolutely fly on, and it makes it awfully exciting, and we can't wait to bring you that coverage as well. It was an amazing weekend of racing here at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, to be sure. That is going to continue. And again, the support from Porsche Motorsports North America and the remarkable Yokohama ENV R2 orange oil infused tires that these cars run on, environmentally friendly, yet allow them to race and put on a show like this. And it's one of the reasons that it's now in its 10th season as one of Porsche's largest single-make Cup Challenge series of their global program. Absolutely fantastic racing, as I said. Coming up next will be Watkins Glen, New York. For Randy Post, I'm Greg Creamer. See you then.